You will sleep better than you have ever slept. You've never been this relaxed. Are you ready to change your life?
I'm Rusty Diamond, certified hypnotist. You don't need to leave your house. You can stay in your bed. You can stay in your favorite chair. You just need a computer or your phone. You can get a hold of me. Stay at home. I'll make your life better.
Hypnosisisgreat.com.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Oh, Miss Rusty, what is up, everybody? It is some day of the week that I don't even know, and I got to start that up. Start, start up my note taker so it can take notes for me so I don't have to take any notes because I never took notes. If I only did when they made me take notes. They made me take notes at school and I didn't want to take any notes. Fuck notes. I have AI to do that for me. Thanks a lot, teachers in high school, in middle school, in grade school. Tell me I need to take notes. Nope, the fucking computer will do it for me. Eat shit. Look at me now. Welcome to the Public Access Podcast. The podcast, now the Pennsylvania Public Access Podcast. The podcast, podcast, podcast. It's going to happen now. That's a new thing starting episode 500. Only took me 500 to get there. So my name's Rusty Diamond. I'm your host, and I'm here out of Intercourse, Pennsylvania. What is up? So today I'm going to bring on my special guest right here, right now. And my special guest is right here, right now. And my special guest is Shelly Bortolotto. And
Hi.
I I tried, I said it over and over, and I still think I flubbed it, but
You did great, Rusty. Hi,
oh,
it's good to meet you. Good to
yeah, it's
chat
good.
today.
Good to meet you too. Welcome to the show. It's this world, whatever it may be. Oh man, I think maybe it's the coffee. I think it's the coffee. I went for another cup of coffee. They have some gimmick going where on Tuesdays you get coffee for free. And I don't know. Maybe I need a chill out, but shout out to Wawa, I guess. My gas station coffee that can go along with my grocery store sushi, which
Nice.
I found some great grocery store sushi out here. I don't know if sushi is something you're ever into. I'm newly into the seafood game uh, at 41 years old. I didn't touch it until I was in like I've had it a few times, but then I was in New England and I had a lobster roll, and that kind of changed everything. And it has to be a Connecticut one. I'm not too sure about the other ones. They're like in Maine and a lot of other places. They'll do it cold with mayonnaise, but in Connecticut they do it hot with butter.
Oh,
And so that's what got me changed. And then I was like, okay, well this is good. Like I lived near the Pacific Ocean. I lived in Oregon, like hour and a half away, and I don't know. Probably I ate seafood maybe 5, 6 times until then. But now that I'm over on the East Coast, now it's just I gotta eat it.
Rusty, I'm on the West Coast. You're just killing me here.
You're on the West Coast.
Yeah, I'm up just above Washington State.
Oh, okay. Like a Vancouver area?
Yeah, actually in Whistler, the ski resort just
Oh,
north of
you're up in
Vancouver.
Whistler. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was up there in 2004 or so, I believe. It's
Yeah.
beautiful up there.
It's changed a bit since then, but the mountain's still just as gorgeous.
Yeah, Mount hasn't changed much. There's it was interesting. Maybe no, I don't know. It was interesting seeing because it was like right when they announced that there was going to be the Olympics there. And so like signs were just starting to go up around the village. And yeah, I mean now see what's it look like now? Where with all the do you ever go and look at the old relics of the Olympics up there?
Yeah, so actually we're gonna go to the Olympic Plaza, which is kind of where they did all the medals, is now our it has all our concerts in the winter. It gets an outdoor skating rink
Oh,
and an
okay.
outdoor tubing area for the kids. And the sliding center is still going. We're going to go up and watch the World Bobsled and Luge Championships in a couple of weeks' time.
Cool. That'll be a
Yeah.
lot of fun. And I mean, how'd you end up in Whistler as like living there full time as opposed to, I mean, it's basically I don't know. I guess people live where people vacation, and it's a smart thing for the most part. Was it just have you been there before, or you just like show up there one day? Like this is where I live. I live in Whistler Village.
Yeah, so there's kind of two decisions. The first decision was working in Australia. My job let me take a year off work, like a year unpaid. It's a nice government job. You come back to your cushy government salary. My brother was like, get out now or you'll be there for life. I'm like, good point. I will go for a vacation. I'll travel the world for a bit. So I wasn't planning on staying in Whistler, but
Yeah,
about 5 or 6 days, not even like less than a week after I got here, I met a boy.
met someone. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, very, very Canadian boy from Vancouver Island.
Oh, from the island. Okay.
Island boy, yeah. And
Yeah, island movie.
pretty much it was like I chose him over everything.
Well, another, yeah, I mean, and so
So it's just one really, really, really long working holiday visa, really.
have you gone back at all? Or
It's
is
been
that
15, it's
will that
been
screw you
15
up?
years.
Yeah. So
No,
you're just
I can go back. So now I have my Australian and Canadian citizenship, so I can go back whenever I want.
okay.
But yeah, it's been a wild ride. So we met, we got married, we bought a place, we got married, and now we have a kid.
Oh, okay. All right. Um, how was that like long time ago that all that happened? Was it because I mean, so then you got your citizenship there. Does he have his citizenship in Australia because he's married to you? Or is it you're
No,
just in here? Or not
just
here,
in here.
in
Yeah, for
Canada.
him to get his, we would have to go live in Australia. I've been
Okay.
in Canada 15 years now, so
All right.
have not lost the Aussie accent. It is still very strong.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough to lose it. I mean, I don't know. I sound like I felt like that whole area, like, because I'm from like, Portland, Oregon. And so I don't know,
Oh,
like it's only 5.5, maybe 6 hours up, unless you're stuck in. I don't know if you ever go down to Washington or anything and sit on I-5 between Olympia and Maryville, Washington, from
like a jump.
like a 100 miles stretch. You never know if you're just going to be stuck there for hours sitting on that. I did. I mean, yeah, I used to go up. I used to work a bunch up in Vancouver and over in Kelowna, and so I go up there a lot. And so yeah, that that
That
stretch
stretch.
between there, just that Washington, driving through Washington can be pretty dangerous. But yeah,
Like
then
a giant parking lot, like the
yeah,
I-90 in Colorado out of Denver. I think it's the I-90.
yeah, the
Yeah,
I-90, yeah, because it goes through from like Sacramento, Salt Lake, and then to Colorado, I
and then
guess,
it
and
goes
then
up to the
Reno.
mountains. Yeah.
Yeah, I get Reno, and then yeah, um, yeah. I used to live off the I-90 in Salt Lake City, so I didn't I didn't do the drive that far into Colorado. Colorado was cool. I liked, but I mean, I was only in like a little part of it, so it's hard to say. It's like people will say, "Oh, Canada's cool." Like, "Oh, I went to, whatever. I went to Vancouver one time when I was 11," and like, okay, well, there's a lot more of the
Yeah.
country. It's the second biggest country in the world. There's space, but you ever get out and explore around BC or anything, or use?
Yeah. Haven't been as far as I want to go yet. I've been to like Toronto, Montreal, and St. John's, all the way over the other side, but just haven't like done enough. But it's the same thing. People will be like, "Oh, we've been to Australia and we saw Sydney," and I'm like, "Well, you haven't
Right,
seen all of Australia."
right. Or yeah, like I've come to went one time to see the Statue of Liberty in New York, or went to LA and saw Hollywood and Disneyland, and like, oh,
Yeah.
I love America. Like, well, there's a lot more. There's a lot more than this little tiny sliver of something with, small percentage of people. But if that's what your experience is, okay, I mean, that's your reality, and it's fine. But I mean, yeah, I mean, like BC, or even I mean, just the island, Vancouver Island is huge. You can drive on the island for like at least 8 hours, right? Probably longer than that, going north to south.
Yeah. But see, it feels small to me.
Well, I mean, it was for an island. I guess Australia is an island too. So,
Yeah.
uh, did you go explore a good chunk of Australia?
I've seen a lot of, I'm from Queensland, the East Coast state. So I've seen a lot of Queensland and haven't been too far west actually in Australia, which is funny because I always feel like I've traveled a lot. But when you think about it, I've been to the same places a lot.
Yeah, me too. And there's nothing wrong with that. Um, get out, some point, go see some other stuff, but nothing wrong with going the same place over and over and over again. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I went to like the same place for vacation and stuff. Like, I bet I've been, 100 times to be an understatement. Probably maybe closer to a couple hundred times I've been there. It's about, yeah. But other places I haven't been that. I've been to a fair amount of other places, but I mean that place just kept going back there. Um, been going there since I was a baby, and so
Where is it?
in Central Oregon, like
Yeah.
so like
I've
where
got to get down to Oregon, like Washington, Oregon. I really want to go down that far, at
you,
least
you
as far down as San Fran.
you haven't gone to Washington.
I've been down, like I've been to Seattle, but I want to do the
Okay.
full on like road trip down the coast. I think we'll do it next year.
Um, yeah, it's a good drive. I made it. Let's see, along the coast. I went down to somewhere in Northern California, but like even driving to California, I've only gone down. I guess San Francisco is probably as far as I've ever driven down that way, but California it takes a long time to drive through. Uh, I guess
Yeah, it does.
again, not as long as Australia, but
I'm used to having to drive like 2 hours from, I'm from a family farm.
family
Um,
farm.
yeah, we have a farm back in
Okay,
Australia. So I
what
grew up
kind
on
of
a
farm?
farm. It's wheat and cattle and crops.
Okay,
And yeah,
and So you
And
ever do anything like
go,
that? Are you done with that? Are you retired from the farm life or?
well, it's still in the family. So my brother took it over. He's got his kids on there now, and they're the fourth generation.
Whoa, okay.
And it was pretty clear as a kid that he was gonna stay on the farm and I was gonna go into the city and work in business. So it's not unusual how it all turned out. The only funny thing about that is that he met an American girl from inner city Denver.
Inner city Denver.
Yeah, so city girl. So she's now on the farm, farm
Whoa.
wife, just knocking it out of the park. She's incredible with everything that she has taken on and can do and everything. And I'm so grateful to her because if not for her, he would have left the farm. Like just like how I chose to live in Canada because of a person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens. That's how we get places. I mean, yeah, yeah.
So it's funny. It's like I ended up living a million miles away from my mum and dad, and she's living a million miles away from her mum and dad.
Yeah, you're closer to her family now
Yeah,
than she
we go
is.
down
And
sometimes too.
yeah, so you said down by Denver.
Yeah, yeah.
So if next time you go back, there's a place it just opened back up called Casa Bonita. Um, they made a, I don't know if you want, probably maybe not. They're at South Park. They made an episode about it. Um, and
Apparently, yeah. Apparently, my husband, my brother, and his. I think they've been and like, I know
oh
exactly the episode
yeah,
you're talking about.
okay,
We
yeah,
grew up with the exact same TV shows.
perfect. Okay, so yeah, so the
Casa
episode where they go to
Bonita.
Casa Bonita, they just redid it. The guys that own or that do South Park,
Did
they
they
bought it.
buy it? Yeah, they
Yeah, they
bought it.
bought
That's
it
what I
and
heard.
just opened it back up. So if you ever back over there, I'd recommend going. I went like on yeah, it must have been like a Tuesday or something, I think, during the day, and um, it was yeah like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. I was pretty impressed. It was a lot like the episode, and but it was odd. It was just took the bus out, and the bus just you go out of town, and all of a sudden, like I was the like all the other people that were on the bus with me, like okay, I felt out of place. It's not often I feel out of place, but I felt kind of out of place then. And then like get off at this strip mall. It's just this like random strip mall, and it's in this random strip mall, and there's Casa Bonita. But yeah, the cliff divers, the food, I guess, yeah, they
Crazy.
made it better. But yeah, it was an experience. It was something to go see. So if you're ever back down in Denver, Casa Bonita, shout
I
out. Maybe they'll
think
be a
it's funny
sponsor.
that we can talk about something that like was mentioned in one TV show, like probably 30 years ago, if I'm doing
Yeah,
my math the same as you're doing math.
yeah,
And
just
yet we're still talking about like South Park, The Simpsons, Futurama, like they've all done it, right?
yeah, and yeah, it's just some random thing, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, because I saw it on there, and then like let's go there, let's do that, and yeah, and then yeah, then I went and saw. So then I lived in Salt Lake City for like a year and a half, and then moved out like an hour and 20 minutes from New York, and so went and saw the Book of Mormon on Broadway, and the other thing that they do, and that was great, especially like I went probably 2 or 3 weeks after I moved from Salt Lake City to there. So it
Oh
was
yeah, that makes
interesting, just
sense.
like right
Yeah.
there, like going from being in it to watching that. But um yeah, and then like, Portland was always cool with the Simpsons because like everything in Portland is Simpsons, like all the names and stuff. There's Terwilliger Boulevard, Sideshow Bob Terwilliger. There's Quimby Avenue downtown. There, Mayor Quimby. There's Flanders Street. But so that there's, northeast,
Oh,
southeast, northwest, southwest. And so, like, on a lot of the northeast Flanders signs, it'll say NE Flanders. So then people usually put a D after northeast. So then the
yeah.
signs say Ned Flanders. And yeah, so it was always cool because I never really mentioned that, you know, Springfield was Portland. It was always this like, oh, it's generic town. Could be, oh, Springfield's actually over here. But
Is it?
yeah,
Because
I
I never
mean,
knew which state it was meant to be in. Because
yeah,
when you Google Springfield, there's like 6 or 7 of them in the States, right?
but I think there's pretty much one in every state. And so yeah, Springfield, Oregon is right next to Eugene, where like University of Oregon is. And so like Shelbyville was supposed to be Eugene, and Springfield is Springfield. And so
That makes sense, right? Yeah.
yeah, so
Did they have a monorail?
they should. They messed up. They messed up with not having that monorail. The monorail. That was such a good episode. And that was, I think, the one that Conan wrote. I think Conan wrote that episode. Conan O'Brien,
Oh
if
yeah.
I
Yeah,
if I
that makes
recall.
sense. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
My my brother can do all the episodes in all the voices. So
What do you mean?
like
He
because we grew up on those early Simpsons episodes, he can
oh
actually like recite an entire episode with all the voices. So even now, like he's on the farm, I'm
whoa.
here, I'll text him and I'll just text him a random Simpsons quote and he'll reply back with the rest of the the clip.
Then the rest of the episode.
Yeah. Like watch and learn. And he'll know exactly where that one comes from.
I mean, those episodes and those seasons were just so huge. Like I have friends and my sister too. Like I'll still, it's kind of the same thing with that show. Just can always go back and like, but whatever's happened in the last 15 or 20 years on the show, maybe I might know a little bit, but yeah, I mean those first like 5-10 years, I feel like everyone was tuning in
Yeah, it's
to
because we didn't
to
have
it.
like Netflix or any of the others. It
Right.
was just like that was the show you watched and everybody talked about it the next day and everybody memorized it. And we
Yeah.
rewatched it.
Yeah, it was Sunday night at 8 o'clock, or
Yeah.
Simpsons coming on. Okay, let's get ready for this. And yeah, I mean it was, yeah, had the VCR with because it had like when we do this, we had like there was a timer on the VCR, but the timer was crappy and would only work sometimes. But then we also, with this VCR, had a remote that had a cable like that went from the TV to the remote. So you had to, like, it would be tethered to the TV or to the VCR, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, just trying to time those commercials to pause it when you get to the end, and then hopefully be able to unpause it before it comes back. It was interesting. I wish some of those tapes that we had where we recorded the stuff still existed. I find myself kind of watching those sometimes on YouTube. People have old stuff that they record with like the commercials and stuff, and it's weird, like with like that, people like, we could do so much to avoid watching commercials, and then but we go back and watch these old commercials of, oh, I remember that commercial, or stuff
It's
like
just,
that.
yeah, it's the history. It just takes us back to like that time when, everything seemed simpler. I don't think it was any simpler back then, but
Right. Yeah,
you
I
had to
mean,
get up to change the channel.
right, yeah, or get someone, if you're not the oldest, you get someone else to do it. Or I mean, if you are the oldest, you get someone else to do it. But yeah, I have older brothers. I had a little sister. I tried to get her to do stuff, but didn't work too well. I ended up usually being the person to go change the channel when the channel needed to be changed. Usually my job. So, I got some good workout, a little up and down and working out those muscles. But yeah, I don't know. It's nice to be able to have some of that stuff available that people just randomly held on to. And like I found this one thing at a thrift store um, in Minnesota, and it was from like 1993, and it was these executives from IBM doing a rap, like they made a rap video about their corporate shit, and it was unbelievable. And I just saw this thing, like this videotape in like in a box. Oh man.
Please tell me you still have this and you can put it on YouTube
Oh
today.
yeah, I do. Let me see if I can find this. Let me go
Because
into
I bet
my.
some of those IBM executives have now gone up to have like very
Oh,
big careers, and they're like
yep.
in this dodgy rap video in 1993.
I hit him up. I hit up one of these guys. I hit them all up, as many as I could find, and one of the guys responded back. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. Let me shoot. Let me go back to this. Okay, I can pull this up here. All right.
1992 rap video.
Yeah. Pretty amazing.
Challenges. It was 1992. We met our business measurements and we celebrated too. Our functions interacted. We worked as one big team. A successful way to operate, it's certainly the same.
To sell our products worldwide, we worked with everyone. To comply with ISO standards, we got the job done.
We put it out online for you to take a look when auditors come a-calling to see your QC book.
We did some site-wide cleaning and hauled out tons of stuff. We filled up 18 trailers. The job was really tough.
We worked with all your teams to keep us out of the red. We scrutinized our budgets to move our side ahead.
Although I'm quite Italian, Rochester is in my heart. My team builds worldwide presence. We are off to a great start.
We faced December's challenge to meet product demand. A system every 8 minutes. The team deserves a hand.
Our site became compliant with rules of ADA. Americans with Disabilities Act, we're proud it's here to stay.
We partnered up with schools, K-12 and higher ed, put quality in curricula to help kids get ahead.
By applying MDQ, our team in Mexico won the National Quality Award. Good job, way to go.
To get us safe to work, our bridge was opened wide. So now we've got 4 lanes moving side by side.
We know about the law and keeping business going. Turn your ideas into patents. Please keep your thoughts a-flowing.
We're good community citizens. Quality living we maintain. Our volunteers and money help United Way campaign.
Now you can come in early or you can stay real late. It doesn't really matter long as you put in a.
The lunch crowd moved outdoors to enjoy the summer sun. Hot dogs, brats, and melons added to the fun.
Our team can put on parties. We stage them all for you to celebrate accomplishments and milestones too.
Santa Colomba celebrates Telia Sweet Success, Timigac Way Rochester in the seamless ABS.
The year came to a close and the icing's on the cake. The gold variable pay, and now we'll all partake. So now you've heard our wrap-up. It's a positive business story. You shared in its successes, and now you shine in glory. A, B, S. That's proper.
So that's that. Um,
But that was a flashback. I'm impressed by how well they all sang in rap.
yeah, me too. I was pretty impressed. Like I went, messaged out to every one of those guys. The only person that responded back was Dynamite, and he was pretty happy to see it. Like I was like, so I don't know, I don't know what it would be like. I got on LinkedIn and I'm like, started messaging all these people. I'm like, oh hey, so yeah, I'm Rusty. I found this at a thrift store next to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. Like, do you remember this? Do you want to see this? And then I said like to all of them, if you don't want me to put this up online, please let me know. But everyone, well, the one person was cool with it. Everyone else didn't respond, so I put it up online.
Nice. And I think everyone probably has that one job that they loved the people they worked with and they wish they could get back for. And I hope everyone in the video was like, yeah, I really like working here. So who knows?
I hope so. Have you had a job like that before?
Yeah, back in Australia, the job I actually left, I thought I was coming back to for a year.
What were you doing?
I was in Brisbane. I was in council and I was buying stuff for council. So like
buying?
spending, yeah. So in like doing strategic sourcing and procurement, I was spending like thousands and doing contracts for hundreds and thousands of dollars.
For what?
For everything that the council, the city. So like think of like a big municipal government.
Okay.
Everything they needed to buy and operate.
So you went and you were the person buying all this stuff.
Yeah, in a team of half a dozen of us.
Okay. And so you had a good setup there, good people you worked with. Was that the main reason why you enjoyed the job?
Good people, interesting work, learning lots, and just it was an easy life. It's like living in Brisbane, lived 20 minutes walk away from work.
So did you walk to work every day?
Sometimes I take the city cats. Because Brisbane's on a river, so you can take like a little ferry boat.
Oh, okay.
It's really neat.
It's okay. Take a ferry boat to work, and how long does that take? Like 5 minutes, maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, that's a nice
Like
way to spend the day.
basically you don't get stuck on the highway for an hour in commute.
Right.
And that was way back before anybody was working remotely or anything like that, really.
I mean, yeah, working remotely is just, it's been so nice. And I don't know, like some people really thrive in a setting around a lot of people, but not all of us. Some of us don't.
Yeah, I like those times when I can just put my head down and get to work and get my stuff done.
Yeah. I went back into like an office setting. When was that? It was when I was in Utah. I worked at this place doing data entry for like, I don't know, a month or two. But
and
well,
did it go well?
Well, here's the thing. So it was like me and then all these kids that were like early 20s and just yapping back and forth the whole time talking about whatever kids say, all their words and stuff. I'm just sounding like the old guy now, but I couldn't get I put on headphones and stuff to just be able to get my work done, put my head down. So I was like, can I just do this at home? Like, why can't I do this at home? This is like taking stuff from the computer and just
that didn't go for it.
Re-entering it. They did it for like a week maybe, but nobody was doing any work except for me. So they're like, everyone needs to get back in the office. And I was like, okay, well, this is not going to work. I took the job because I wanted to offset my taxes. So it wasn't all just because like the year before it was all like self-employed taxes and
Yeah, I
money
know what you
from
mean.
crypto. And I was like, okay, I had to pay a lot of money. How can I not? How can I offset this a little bit more this year? So I had that job for a short little while, and then I got sick and they fired me. One of those
I
things.
I guess that I'm up in Canada and Australia, so we've had different, laws and stuff. But I guess that's a thing.
People getting sick and getting fired. Cause that's what happened. That was the one time that I got the Rona. I got the Rona for like, and this was
Yeah.
yeah, I got it for like I don't know 3 days, and I think like yeah, the first day I called in like two days, and I'm like I can't come in. And like okay, well can't work. Okay, well can't I do this at home? Like why can't I do this at home? But I mean it's so much such a waste. It's so much cheaper to go and just give everyone a computer and pay for their internet as opposed to getting your a whole building to be used, a whole like corporate building. Corporate buildings, I don't know why they went back to that kind of work, but
It costs a lot of money to run a corporate building.
yeah, I don't I don't understand it. I've like doing this. I like working from home and like so I started doing that in like 2018, trying to work over Zoom. I had one client that didn't like leaving his house. And so like trying to convince anyone in 2018 to use Zoom or, anything for meetings was like, nah, I don't really know. This doesn't sound legit. And then, um, and then in 2019, I moved to Minnesota and I thought I'd be snowed in for like 6 months out of the year. Only happened one day. So, but then office space over there was really expensive. So I was like, maybe I'll just try this working all remote kind of thing. And it was still kind of iffy. And then the Rona hit and everyone's like, okay, this is how it is now. And business got better. But yeah, it was tough trying to convince people for a while to get on to doing online anything. Did you find that at all? Was that something you ran into
Uh,
or?
no, no, I guess not, because up in Canada, I was already working online. I was already connecting with people from home and working from home because I
Okay.
went into self-employment about 3 years before that started.
What, so what got you to get into self-employment? Was it like, I don't know, because like in the States, could you not work? Were you not allowed to work a certain amount of time after, you'd been there for a while. Because like after you get married, like in the States, if so you bring in a foreign person and they get married, like, so I have two friends. One is from down by Portland and the other is from Vancouver. And so they ended up getting married in Oregon. And so he came down from Vancouver, but like he wasn't allowed to work for, I want to say it was at least 6 months because of, tax stuff and other things. Was that anything that you kind of fell into there when you moved, or was that not really?
No, no, I always had a work permit or a citizenship or residency, so I could always work. There was a corporate restructure that happened up here, so I stepped out of my position and then started out doing supply chain management because that's what I'd done. And then as COVID started to happen, transitioned into coaching. So now I coach people full time, and it's all by Zoom, so it's super easy.
It's really nice. It's really nice. Just, uh, I mean, even if you're not feeling great, you still get work done.
Mm.
I don't know. If you call in sick, it's on yourself. So
it's just adjusting. Like if I'm coaching a client, I'm completely on it. I'm talking to them. But if I'm feeling a little snuffly or something, then I'll switch out the thing that I'd planned for that day and I'll do something like I'll do my admin and put some stuff up, and I'll do my finances and my accounting, so that on the days when I'm feeling really on it is when I do my highest work. Like yesterday, I was creating an entirely new coaching tool because I was really like powering through it.
Yeah, and that's the good thing, like knowing that you have a bunch to do, but you can kind of change it. Like a lot of times, yeah, it's like I'm going to be busy all day, but I know I can go and like I'll be working. I have 8 hours of stuff to do, but I can do it anytime I want, anytime of the day I want. And I'll schedule 2 hours out of the day. I can go and stop for 2 hours, and we can do whatever, whenever, and it'll be okay. And I can come back to it. Whereas, if I had to go be in an office for 8 hours, you can't really do that. It's like a lot of the countries and doing their siestas or whatever the other, I don't know what the term is, where you work for a while, you go home and you eat, and then you go back out and you work some more. I don't know.
Yeah,
Is
and
that something they do in Australia, or was it just kind of a work right through day?
no, because it was on the farm. You just work a regular day or on the farm, but it only works well if you trust yourself to go back and get stuff done.
Right.
And the only way you go back and get stuff done is if you're not worried or nervous about actually doing this stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, but then why would you be doing it if you're nervous about doing the stuff? Won't you want, I mean, is that something that like that comes up for an example? Like, are you like not you, but like, why would there be stuff that you're not sure about doing?
It's like, when you start a new business.
Yeah.
And part of the job is to go out and market yourself and sell your services.
Yeah.
And other things, you might find other things to do instead that you think are helping, like building a website, writing a blog post, which is all like, I get to sit inside my house behind my computer screen, not talk to people. So the thing you need to do, which is go out and, interact with humans.
Right.
For some people can feel really scary, especially when they're telling humans that they're doing their own thing and they're not. That it's like you're doing it under your own banner. So suddenly it feels harder.
So then what would you tell someone to do the marketing for themselves? Someone who doesn't want to jump right in, what do you tell them?
Well, it takes courage. It takes courage to go out and be your own person, and it takes working through all that worry and fear, and that's something that the sooner you get started at working through it and you know how to do it, the quicker your business takes off because you're actually out there talking to people.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, make sure it's something you believe in, unless your thing's lying, then it doesn't have to be something you believe in.
Yeah, you can be a really good salesperson, but like anybody that starts a business, say they start baking cakes for a living, or they start, doing a thing for themselves, or they start becoming a real estate agent. A big part of that is actually telling people, hey, this is the thing I do now. And that's really, really hard. And a lot of people jump into business without realizing that that's the thing they're going to have to do.
Right. Yeah. Let people know, yeah, this is who I am. Do you need these services? And I mean, it can be tough with social media and stuff. And like, sometimes I get to that point where I'm feeling like, I'm fucking, I don't know. I feel like I'm spamming people, like sharing my stuff over and over. And I don't know. I feel like it might be too much sometimes, but it's like, I don't know. It's just stuff that you got to do.
Yeah, you're doing it, right? For some people, it can be probably not for you, but for some people, it's a real challenge to be especially if you've had 20 years of sitting in a corporate office where no one really knows you, and then suddenly you have to be like, tell the world, and you feel like you're spamming, but really you've only told 10 people.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I don't know who looks at my stuff or who what. So yeah, my I don't know. I I don't know. I don't know who looks at what. I know what I look at, and my most of the time, like the only thing I see on on social media is stuff that's for sale by me, stuff made by Mike Judge, and like Beavis and Butthead kind of stuff, or what was the other thing? I feel like there was one other thing. But that's really all I see online. But so I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know if people are doing the same because like yeah, once 2020 hit, I got on and I just unfollowed everything. I was like, I don't need to know everybody's not everybody. A lot of people wanted to give their stance on a lot of different things, and I was just like, okay, well,
Oh yeah, the world got
I,
super political for a couple of years there, didn't it?
yeah,
And but when I say
yeah,
the world, I mean the US.
yeah, and it was a lot of like, I don't even want to know. Like, I'm not buying into this, and so like, I just kind of unfollowed everything and just sort of only looked at that stuff and turned off the news. I didn't really watch the news before anyway, but like I just like I'm good. I'm just gonna go do my thing. Like this is what I want to do. So it worked out. It worked out all right. But like I don't always know when the people are doing stuff because I guess people expect people don't expect someone to be one of their friends or followers or whatever and not look at any of the stuff. But I assume I'm a very small population of people like that who is there as one of the people, but has no clue of anything that's going on unless they reach out and tell me. Or I have another friend who's only barely on social media, and he'll tell me anything that I might miss that he somehow catches. So between us, we probably know about like 10 to 15% of anything that's going on between us, and we'll tell each other. And so that's about how much I know what's going on. But I assume a lot of people are scrolling. Like, how do you get someone to stop? How do you get someone to stop and look at your page or what you're doing?
Well, that's a great question, Rusty. It's for me, it's about really giving a different opinion, giving somebody a valuable opinion that could help them with how they're thinking about their lives. And over time, it might not be that everybody stops, but one person stops, and that's value that they get. And then another person stops and reads, and then I go out and I meet. It doesn't all have to be online, right? I meet someone at a networking event, and I get to talk to them and give them value. And all
What do
these
you
little pieces of value keep adding up.
what do you do at your networking events? Do you go to ones like up there in Whistler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go say hi, talk to people, ask how they're doing, find out what's going on in their life, give
Is
them
it
support.
like a local business meetups or networking or what kind of networking?
Yeah, our local chamber runs networking events, lots of networking events in the city as well.
Yeah. I usually sign up for those when I move somewhere new. I'll go and I'll find that out, and it's usually a good good thing to be part of. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I what I should have been doing is getting all of them on my podcast, uh, which is what most of these need. If anybody is ever in need of something to do and you're wanting to start a podcast, go and go to one of these networking events with the Chamber of Commerce and ask if anybody wants to have their business profiled on that.
That's a great way. I never thought of doing it that way. It's like everybody wants the honor of being asked to be somewhere, to be more visible. You're like, hey, come on my podcast. I'll help you meet new people. Like that's incredible for people.
Yeah, and you just you're that the what's the word? Man, coffee is back.
You're the giver, you're the opener of opportunities for them.
Yeah, and then you're also then the expert of you'd be the expert of the local Whistler commerce, and people will want to come to you to have be like, oh,
Yeah.
Shelly's podcast, like I was on Shelly's podcast.
She's
got,
pretty cool.
yeah,
Like
she's pretty
give
cool.
people a platform. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, and most of the people like are people that are and because like those meetings usually are at 1 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon or something, or sometime during the day. So you're meeting all kinds of different people who, if you're in a quote unquote regular job, you're not going to meet really. And I mean, I always thought that was kind of fun. It was same thing with like being an extra in a fucking movie or TV show or something. Like it's a bunch of people who are just like available during the day, during the week, and have wild stories and lives and stuff. And I always enjoyed doing that, and meeting people. And I wish I would have been like, let's do a podcast while we're waiting for to go out there and do a scene. But never too late, I guess. But um yeah, so I guess it's good to, like, especially local, like if you can get like 5 people on your side locally, you're in good shape. And then you just kind of build on that and you build up that local. But I mean, it seems so like easy to want to go big and kind of go worldwide, but you got to go local too. You can't forget about local. Like local is very important, and it's easily overlooked now with the world opened up as it is now, with being able to do this. It's really cool, but then you also
Yeah.
lose out on that.
It's like when you talk about local, what I mean, you're talking about like those connections in the community, right? So
Right.
in order to really connect with people in the community, and it's your own community, you're going to be more vulnerable.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
'Cause
So when
they
you're
know where you
vulnerable
live.
with people, they connect with you more. They're like, oh, they see you dropping your kid off at school and having that bad day, and then they feel like she's a human. She has bad days too.
Right. And yeah, it's Jack over that owns the magic shop or something. I don't
Something, yeah. It's like
Yeah,
you
okay,
know
all
them as
right.
people, and then you connect with them as people, and you can
Yeah.
do that worldwide, like in individual groups as well. Like I have people that I talk to in the UK, and I know them as people, but they're not like local to me, but they feel like they're part of my community.
Right. And so then do you introduce them to other people in your community, or is it just part of your community and your community is your community?
No, it's like finding the connection. So if this person needs to be on a podcast, I'm like, oh, you need to talk to this person. And if
Right.
this person is looking to do public speaking, I'm like, oh, let's get you connected with this person. So all the pieces start to become more connected.
Yeah. And it's always good to be able to have someone say, oh, hey, I got someone for you. And it's a nice feeling. It's a real nice feeling, like, okay, well, thank you for doing that. It's like
Yeah,
like a finder's fee of some sort. Give them a finder's fee, whether it's monetary or some sort of thank you. whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's just like it builds that sense of gratitude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's important to have that, and especially when, I don't know, a lot of people like don't know what it's like. Yeah, trying to put yourself over and trying to show that you're this business. This is what you do. Like you're saying, some people have a hard time with that. I can't even have a hard time with it sometimes. Like I don't know. There are some. If you go back and listen to some podcasts, like there's some stuff that I was like I didn't really want to talk about that I like doing, and that but you just have to go and embrace it and be like, okay, well, this is part of what I do, and this is cool. Like it ain't nothing wrong with it. Like it's fun and it's helpful. So yeah, just being able to kind of get over yourself sometimes, for lack of a better way to put it. And sometimes it's easier said than done. Sometimes it's just like, okay, well, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? This is who I am, and the easier it is to get to that point, I think is when things start to open up more.
The biggest part of, we talk about like, having to be out there. Like I realized nearly a couple of years after I had my daughter that I was in pretty deep postpartum anxiety. So I had to like get over myself in that sense, to be like, go to my boss and be like, I'm really struggling. I need some accommodations. I need some help. I'm committed to the job, but my brain is exploding right now. And they knew how committed to the job I was, because I'd been there for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And to the company, and they're like, okay, like, what do we need to do to help you? They wanted me to get better. And I started telling people in the community, look, I'm really struggling. I'm in postpartum anxiety. They helped and they watched me get out of it. And I started telling other people so that they could be like, oh, wait, that sounds like me too.
Right. And it's nice because, especially with this, someone could go and Google that and your podcast comes up.
Yeah. And it's like, postpartum anxiety isn't talked about enough. And when somebody talks about it and you listen to it and you're like, oh, I think that might, and you don't like self-diagnose yourself. It's not like you're Googling your own stuff, but it's like you start getting a feel of like, oh, I think that sounds like me. I think that sounded like my friend, or I wonder if this is something my friend might be struggling with. And it just opens up ways to be like, hey, listen to this podcast. This sounds like something you're also going through. And like, not just going through it, but having that message out there that there's an end point, like you will get better.
Yeah. And you're not alone.
You're not alone. And other people are, and that's something I've always felt very alone. Like I haven't realized that just hearing someone else's story can make you feel better.
Yeah. And so if people want to find your story, where can they find that, or how can they connect with you?
Well, I did marry the Bortolotto, so it does get difficult. But I have a website, shellybortolotto.com, ShellyBortolotto. And I talk about coaching. I talk about postpartum anxiety. I talk about feeling better by getting in charge of like that spin in your head. When you were talking about it before, Rusty, where you kind of sometimes doubt yourself.
Right.
It's like when doubting yourself goes into complete overdrive.
Which doesn't take much.
Oh my God, we've all been there. And it's not quite the same as just sitting on the couch eating ice cream. It's like sitting on the couch eating ice cream and Netflix and popcorn, and you're doubting yourself.
Right.
And you're looking over at your desk being like, I really should get back to work, but I'm just going to eat another episode. I'm just going to watch another episode. Like it's that.
Yep.
I really should be doing something, but I'm really just going to do this feeling.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to do that, but sometimes you gotta be like, nope, I can't do that anymore. You gotta find the time for that, and then that time needs to end.
Yeah, and sometimes you just need help to pick yourself back up, and that's what I do is I help people.
Perfect. I like it. And yeah, so thank you, Shelly, so much for being on. It was great to get to meet you, and everyone can go and get a hold of you now, and so they know how to do it. So thank you for being here, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and hopefully make it to Casa Bonita. I
Yeah.
wish I was still working up in Vancouver, and I could say, come watch me get my ass kicked sometime. But I don't anymore. It's been I haven't been up there since like 2018 or something. So but
Anytime you come
yeah,
back up over the border, come up to Whistler, we'll go for coffee.
love it. Okay. Or if you're ever over near the Amish country out here, you let me know, and we'll churn some butter. We'll have some or whatever
Yeah. Well,
whatever
my daughter's
happens.
talking about road trips, and she wants to road trip to Mexico, and my husband and I just like, no, that's a long drive.
That's a pretty long drive. Probably better to fly that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but go to Mexico. Do some Mexico. It's good for everyone.
Go
And Mexico is
traveling.
a big place.
Yeah.
Mexico, it's not just you went to Mexico one time. It's not Mexico, like we were saying earlier. Yeah. So yeah, find a cool place in Mexico. Eh, Most places are pretty cool, but
Yeah. Go travel, go see the world. Doesn't matter
yeah,
where you start, just go as far, pick a direction and go as far as you possibly can.
yep. And then yeah, I can't go any further unless I hop on a boat or a plane. So yeah,
Yeah.
do that. So if you can't hop on a boat or plane, go hop on a boat or plane. So yeah, have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Rusty. It's a pleasure.
Definitely. All right. That's Shelly Bortolotto. So you guys hit her up. I'll put it in the notes. Thank you so much for being here. Episode 501. 501. Oh, yep. So we're over 500. We're past 10 years, year 11 of the Public Access Podcast. I'm your host, Rusty Diamond, and that is the show. Man. Boom. Oh no.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.